Your Honour, members of the jury, my name is Emma Jackson and I am representing the prosecution in the case that John Simons should be accused of manslaughter against Andrew Clark. The defendant will try to convince you that John Simons should not be proven guilty, but I am here to prove to you that John Simons did indeed unlawfully kill Andrew Clark on the 28th of March 2017. According to Section 303 of the Queensland Criminal Code 1899, manslaughter is defined as a person who unlawfully kills another under such circumstances as not constitute murder or is guilty of manslaughter. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, John Simons unlawfully killed Andrew Clark on the 28th of March 2017. Andrew Clark was a great swimmer and swam fantastically on the day of the district trials, while John Simons didn't have his best swim and left the pool angry. Andrew had taken his place in the swim team. On the way out, John threatened you won't be swimming at the next year, before angrily hurling rocks at Andrew. In self-defense, Andrew got out a cricket bat before attempting to stop John's attack. Andrew chased him as he began to run away, but then lost his footing at the edge of the embankment. He fell down and later died at the scene. So if John didn't mean to kill Andrew, why did he declare Andrew would not be swimming next year? Also, why would someone purposely throw rocks at one another if their intentions were not to badly injure or maybe even kill? Why would you get as mad as John did about a swimming team? Surely such an insignificant event, like a swimming carnival, could not be a reasonable circumstance to cause or inflict severe pain, or in this case, death. Just imagine if that was your son. He had recorded an amazing time during a swimming race and had made it the swim team, but had died before he could even tell you. What would you do? Would you let this go unpunished or unjustified? Or would you want the man who unlawfully killed your son to be charged with manslaughter? As stated previously, I am here to prove that John Simons committed an act of manslaughter for unlawfully killing Andrew Clark. My points are clear and validated with evidence. It is in these circumstances obvious that John meant to inflict harm when he said to Andrew that he wouldn't be swimming next year, a typical threat that one uses to indicate antagonism. On the other side of the courtroom we have the defendant, Casey Payne, who will try and tell you why John Simons is not guilty of manslaughter. She will attempt to explain that Andrew lost his footing and tripped all by himself. She will say, why did Andrew even have a cricket bat? She will do everything in her possible power to explain to you why John Simons is not guilty for manslaughter. Later on, I will explain in depth why John Simons should be charged with manslaughter, but now you'll hear the defendant's point of view to why John Simons should not be charged with manslaughter. Just remember, what if it was your child that went out for the day and never came back? What would you do?
Your Honour, members of the jury, my name is Casey Payne and I'm representing the defendant in this case, John Simons, in the matter of Regina v. Simons. The prosecutor will try to convince you that the accused committed the act of manslaughter, causing the death of Andrew Clark. I will, however, convince you that the unfortunate death of Andrew Clark was an accident, as my client was avoiding any further confrontation, and therefore cannot be held accountable for the accidental death as per Section 23 of the Queensland Criminal Code Act 1899. Prosecution needs to prove that my client is guilty of the charge of manslaughter, as per Section 303 of the Criminal Code, which states the definition of manslaughter. A person who unlawfully kills another under such circumstances as not to constitute murder is guilty of manslaughter. I will demonstrate that my client cannot be convicted of manslaughter. I will rely on Section 23 of the Queensland Criminal Code Act 1899 and apply the principle of either an act or omission that occurs independently of the exercise of the person's will, or an event that the person does not intend or foresee as a possible consequence. I acknowledge that my client John acted recklessly, initially by throwing some small rocks at Andrew Clark. This was done because John was angry and frustrated at Andrew Clark, had teased him for not making the under-17 school swimming team. Witnesses say that John left the carnival angry because he had done poorly and Andrew had taken his place on the swimming team, and I acknowledge that. So the circumstances are, whilst walking home alone from the carnival, John Simons was approached by Andrew Clark, who slowed down on his bicycle to boast about his position in the swimming team. As Andrew rides away, my client feels angry and yells out, "You won't be swimming too well at the next carnival," and begins to throw a small number of rocks at Andrew in frustration and in the hope that Andrew might fall off his bike and suffer a minor injury that may prevent him from swimming. Andrew is hit by a rock, gets off his bike, takes out a cricket bat from his school bag and aggressively swings his bat, striking my client. With no other witnesses around, my client becomes extremely fearful and, to avoid any further confrontation, runs away from Andrew. We acknowledge that throwing the small rocks at Andrew Clark was wrong and was a type of assault as per the definition found in section 245 of the Queensland Criminal Code. No doubt provoked Andrew Clark to confront my client. The physical assault with the cricket bat, which was being used as a weapon, struck my client, and in fear he turned and ran away to avoid being further assaulted. The assault on my client meets criteria of section 23 of the Queensland Criminal Code, as the attack with a cricket bat was not foreseen by my client. The prosecution might rely on section 268 of the Criminal Code to say that John throwing the rocks provoked Andrew to assault, but this case is about the charge of manslaughter, and the prosecution cannot provide this charge. The prosecution believes that Andrew was only trying to defend himself by getting a cricket bat out and start swinging at John. It is obvious that my client John was running away from Andrew after being attacked with a cricket bat and had no idea that Andrew would fall and die.